And welcome back to the Country Telegraph. Trevor Hold is the publisher of the Australian Advocate, which is excellent reading. And he's up in the up at the front. He's taking on all sorts of irregularities in our modern world. As an ultrapreneur, Trevor is involved in several business ventures, ranging through farming and ag, counselling, mental health, empowerment, and advocacy services. Trevor, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Mike. It's great to see you again.
Yes, those whiskers are getting longer.
Yeah, I might have to trim them up a bit, but I let them grow wild just to put people off. That's all.
No, no,
Trying
no.
to scare the children.
I hate to wake up. I hate to wake up to you at midnight looking at that, and then I hate to wake up to you at midnight. So, look, tell us about what's in the April edition.
Well, the April edition of the Australian Advocate paints a very stark picture of a nation under environmental, agricultural, and policy strain. It has a consistent theme of systems designed for stability are now failing under real-world pressure. So we touch on environmental issues, agricultural issues, economy, law and civil liberties, politics, sovereignty, and public health. So it's a quite diverse range of stories across the entirety of Australia, from Darwin ports to South Australia algae, even far north Queensland to the yellow crazy ants, and a lot of issues in between.
Yeah, those ants. You got ants. Remember that ad where that girl had the ants crawling up her? And if the state government saw that, Queensland state government saw that these days, they'd spray her. Let's get rid of those pesky ants. You know, it's amazing those little horrors that run through your imagination. Tell us about your thoughts on this farm crisis. Some of the main points have been raised: crop production down. What else is there? System shock, diesel stranglehold, fertiliser trap, supermarket and food shortage, path to recovery. My own bit there is, why the hell would you be a farmer?
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's no secret that farming is quite draining on your overall well-being and health, and they're highly represented in suicide statistics across Australia. In Australia, 9 people every day, according to the Bureau of Statistics, that was published in 2024. So 9 people every day die by suicide, which is quite alarming, and a high level of them numbers can be attributed to regional areas who face a lot of difficulties that a lot of metro areas don't have in regards to managing some of these farming issues and regional communities. So it isn't easy, but often a lot of these people, it's in their soul. It's not really a lifestyle, or it's not really a choice that they make. It's just who they are. So I feel that it's important to support these people to be the best they can be, and to manage their land and their community in the best interest of the environment that they work in.
Look, you've been through the ringer, and that's the understatement. And I would imagine that may continue, because there are organisations out there that are quite vindictive. We look in Victoria and New South Wales, but look at Victoria, where the state government can acquire land without consultation to implement its let's save the planet policy by putting in interconnectors or windmills or solar farms or whatever. Tell us, because just from and because you've been through all sorts of stuff, what goes through a farmer's mind, and where can they go in their mind? How do they get out of this spiraling, just into a chasm of despair and obliteration? Because if government can come in and just say, we're taking that and bugger off, it would have to do terrible things to a person's mental health, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and there's a few strategies that we talk about in regards to that, Mike. So basically, what you're talking about are the 3 Ps, the enemies of optimism. The first P being permanent, and the second P being persuasive, and the third P being personal. So, to put it in a nutshell, it's a type of thought process where you're thinking everything is shit, everything all around me is shit. It's always going to be shit, and it's all my fault that it's shit. And excuse the language, but that's what sort of is going on inside people's heads when things aren't working out, and a lot of people are taking the responsibility and the burden of situations on their own shoulder, and it's very difficult to separate the individual from the circumstance. So, we as individuals are not entirely made up of our circumstance that we find ourselves in. There are other elements to us as an individual. So the first thing that I suggest to my clients is we try to move away from and fight the three P's of pessimism, the enemies of optimism, and that's by the first thing is by removing the permanent side of things. So it's the belief that it's not always going to be this way. There's steps you can take, and there's things will change over time. The sun will come up in the morning, and and things will be better tomorrow. So it's not going to be forever. So just trying to hold on to that fact that, look, we're going through a difficult time now, but it's not going to be forever. We're going to get through this, and trying to find support to help you think along them lines. Pervasiveness is about thinking that everything around me is bad, so that's why nature walks or going around and just finding some exceptions to that, like seeing a beautiful songbird in the morning in the early hours in your garden chasing insects. It's a beautiful thing to see. Or going for a walk and seeing a beautiful rose and with its petals or whatever. Even the miracle of life and looking at a tree in the forest, and just understanding that how that evolved and how that came to be is a miracle. So just trying to find some beauty around all the hardship and pain that you're experiencing with some of these draconian government decisions, and I feel that sort of helps. But separating yourself from your circumstances is probably one of the most things. It's not all your fault. Life happens, things happen. We're all humans. We all make mistakes. That's what definition of us as a human is. So trying to work through them three P's of pessimism and trying to find a support to help reinforce some of them thoughts to get you through them three P's and try to have a brighter look on it is very important. And to assist doing that, Mike, understanding your circle of influence can help as well. So there are some strategies, breathing strategies and some walking strategies and different things. Cold water on your face, cold showers. There's a lot of things that you can do, but ultimately, what we've got to try to do is come together as a community and support each other, because unfortunately, these government decisions and these government, like Bronwyn was saying, these bureaucratic officers don't have a clue, and they don't consider any emotional toll they're having on the community. They've got their objective, they've got their blinkers on, and they're just focused on, this is what we got to do, and if we can't do this, we get a bigger hammer and we're going to whack you into line, and that's literally the thinking of them. So as a community and sticking together and trying to help each other, and one of the biggest failings that I know is these rural communities who need all the support they can get are lacking support services, even simple things like GPs or doctors or psychologists, counselling. A lot of these services are lacking in these regional communities, and that's where they're probably required more, because there's less job opportunities, there's less recreational activities, there's a lot of problems out there that obviously need addressing. So and that's why we set up Australian Advocacy Group. We're here to provide advocacy and services and try to help people through these difficult times, and that's why we've got the publication, the Australian Advocate, to try and raise awareness on a lot of these issues that are causing problems for millions of Australians right across the country.
I'm just looking at one at government, and their limited services is quite ironical. Their government will have a limited service there with maybe people to help with the your mental health, or whether you're down in the dumps or whatever. Yet it's government that, in many cases, that is creating this in the first place. So it's like someone saying, "I'm going to shoot you, but I'll also fix you because I'm a doctor." And it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. The other thing too, remember the old days, they'd say, my dad and friends of the family and other friends would go through it, and they'd say, "Oh, just, man up, just put that aside and get back into it." That doesn't work, does it? Because the devil is still there, just hiding and lurking, and one day he'll come out even stronger and harder.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem. There's still a stigma out there, and especially in the rural communities. So there's generational connections to the land there. I think your last guest was talking about six generations or something back, and that in itself creates stress and pressure, not letting down your legacy or of your family name, sort of thing. So there's a lot of perceived things that may not be real, but obviously if you're the sixth generation farmer and the farm runs out of money and can't be sustained on your shift, then obviously that's a lot of pressure that you've got to live with, isn't it? Like your granddad or whatever set it up or whatever all them years ago, and suddenly you're unable to sustain it, and that creates a lot of negative outcomes at all. But also too, because in these regional communities everyone does know each other and this and that, and if you do make a mistake or something happens within that community, then it's often amplified, because in the city and that no one knows, you don't even know who your neighbour is, and everyone's just going about their life and this and that, and you got gym services and you got this and you got cafes and that to go to or whatever, and gossiping groups or whatever. It's a lot easier to make mistakes and not have to dwell on it, but in them country areas there's a lot of factors that people don't realise are an issue, even to the point where, for example, in the city, your husband and wife can go to professional earn good money in professional capacity, because there's babysitting services or daycare services, or there's ways that you can manage your children a lot easier in regards to there's just so many services there that you take for granted. But in these rural communities, often you're really dependent on that farm to generate the income for probably your whole family, not just your mum and dad, but probably some of the kids or some of the uncles, and everyone's sort of based on the success of that operation. So there's a lot of issues there, and it is very disappointing, but very well acknowledged by me anyway, and you said it too, that the main problems that are occurring are government driven, and you see on these ads about your mental health and on the TV, and they've got these mental health departments and all this stuff, but it's not helping them in their decision-making process, which is fundamental to having a happy population, isn't it, obviously?
How do they take on government, though? I mean, when that's probably the largest organisation in Australia, whether it's state or federal, even local. And when they come after you, you have to have your wits about you, and you've got to be very resilient. You have to be quite determined.
Resilient.
Resilient,
Yeah,
that's the word.
and I suppose that's where I'm a little bit blessed, because I did do my Cert 4 in mental health, and I've done my diploma in counselling. I just completed my Bachelor of Psychological Science, and I'm just starting my Masters in Human Rights and Social Advocacy. So obviously you build up skills and you build up abilities to go through it. But as you know, Mike, I've been involved in this fire ant campaign now for over 18 months, going on 2 years now probably. I've been arrested. I was assaulted by police, tackled in my own backyard, handcuffed, and been going through the court process as we speak. I've gone to court about 8 times or whatever on obstructing police charges. And I'm trying to deal through that, but in the meantime, I'm still focused on solutions. It's not enough just to say you don't like what the government's doing or this and that. I'm a firm believer in coming up with solutions and trying to find alternatives to what's causing all the drama. And the biggest thing that I'm driven by is my community. So, and if you've got your community behind you, then there's nothing they can do to hurt you. And it's just about understanding who you are as a person and what you're trying to achieve. Because if you don't know who you are and what your values are, then the ABC is surely going to tell you. Like I've had, ABC articles calling me a conspiracy theorist, even though I had commercial contracts with two internationally recognised universities working on alternatives to the toxic chemical approach that they were taking. The ABC still called me a conspiracy theorist. But because I know who I am, other people can't define me. Who are they to define me? They don't even know me, yet they're giving me these labels. And it's just trying to have the character about you and understanding who you are and what you're trying to achieve that gives you the confidence that when these insults or when these narratives come at you in the public domain, then it's not so challenging to overcome, because you know in your heart who you are and you know what you stand for. And these people who don't even know you, who are trying to label you to discredit you as a person, rather than look at the issues that you're debating, they can't debate these issues on a practical level, so they go after the character, then that just shows that you're winning. So, and these are the things I tell all my clients and what I'm doing. So it's not easy to change bureaucratic, decision-making processes, especially when they're billions of dollars. The fire ant campaign is $1.2 billion over 25 years or whatever, and growing. But and it's probably very similar with the transmission lines and the net zero policies and that sort of stuff. But I feel as a community, we can do anything in regards to these policies, because that's what the government's here for, is for us, the people. So that's why I've gone down the social advocacy route, and I feel there's a lot of issues and a lot of help that I can provide my skills with to help other communities in a solution focused process.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to wrap this up, but tell me, when does the next edition come out? I know it's due soon. When? Yeah.
We normally get them out before the second Friday of each month. That's when we try to. Often we'll probably sneak it out a couple of days earlier before that, Mike, if it's ready. But generally the second Friday of each month is when it's available. The publication link's on the thing. And then from there, I suppose, we got some on the aagpilot.com website. You can actually subscribe to that website, and when we do a article on that, then you get the email, and we can pick several. We do regular posts of different stories and that to people, and also keep up to date on some of the campaigns that we focused on. As at AAG, members get to decide what they want to focus the efforts on in their campaigning and what's important to them. So it's important, if you've got any issues or you've got any campaigns you want to get off the ground, then you can join up AAG, and we can certainly have a look at voting and getting them campaigns across the line to move them forward as well.
You're doing a great job. I'm sure you go to heaven, although I just heard from St. Peter he wants that stuff. And again, Merv Hughes, he's going to take out a lawsuit. Someone's impersonating me. Look, Trevor Hold, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. We'll do this again. I think you have some wonderful ideas and some solutions or start of getting better, because at the moment I'm sure there are many people on the land who are going, oh man, this is just too bloody hard. And it's very, very hard, but you got to, put your head down, your backside up, but you do need help. People do need help.
And it's okay to ask. It's okay to ask for help. There are people here to help, and that's the biggest message that I want. You're not alone. There are people here to help, and you don't have to take these issues on your own shoulders. Share the load, and we can all help each other through it. Ultimately, 3,500 people a year dying by suicide is not acceptable, and we need to get that better. Mike, that's my message.
It's terrible. In fact, what we will do is we'll get on maybe in the next couple of weeks and just talk about that too, because that is a very highly unacceptable. And I think as Australians, we should be ashamed that number exists. Trevor Hold, thank you very much.
Thanks very much for having me. No worries, guys. Thank you. See you. Bye.
Beauty. Thank you. Bye-bye.